Usually when we talk about viral trends on this show, we're in debunking mode.
Oh, yeah.
We're looking at some flash-in-the-pan TikTok hack like, I don't know, drinking lettuce water or something,
Yeah.
and explaining why it's nonsense. But today feels different.
Very different.
We're looking at something that is absolutely saturating social media. You can't scroll for 5 minutes without seeing someone with glass skin. That translucent, poreless look swearing the secret is just rice water. And looking at the stack of research you've brought in, this isn't just hype, is it?
No, it's not. It's actually a really interesting intersection where, viral marketing crashes headfirst into ancient history and then gets validated by some pretty hardcore cosmetic chemistry.
Right. So our mission for this deep dive is, I guess, pretty specific. We aren't just here to say it works. We want to bridge that gap. We're going to follow the narrative arc in the source material from the trend, which is what everyone sees,
Right.
to the truth about the chemistry of Oryza sativa, that's rice, and finally landing on technique.
And the technique part is where we're going to spend a lot of time. Because while the benefits are real, the whole kitchen lab approach people are taking, well, it's risky.
Risky like, it won't work, or risky like, I'm going to need a doctor.
Risky like biological contamination.
Yeah.
We need to talk about safe formulation, but before we get to the safety warnings, we have to respect the history. This is not some discovery made by an influencer in 2024.
No. Looking at the source material, we are going back centuries. The notes highlight the Yao women in China.
The Yao women of Hongluo Village. It's often called the Long Hair Village.
Which sounds like something out of a fable, but the photos in the source stack they're wild. These women have hair down to their ankles, jet black, shiny, even into their 80s.
Yeah, they don't seem to go gray, and for generations, their main hair care method has been fermented rice water.
Okay, but for skin specifically, for that glass skin thing, we have to look at Japan, right?
Exactly. Specifically the Heian period.
We're talking way back, 794 to 1185 AD.
Correct. The court ladies of that era used something called komenukayu. It was basically the water left over from washing rice, and they used it as a dedicated facial cleanser. The whole goal was that fair, soft, translucent skin.
Which is. That's exactly what people are chasing today. It's funny how we think we're discovering these biohacks when really we're just rediscovering a 1,000-year-old routine.
It's totally cyclical, but the difference today is that we can explain why it works. It's not magic, it's molecular.
So let's get into that chemistry, because I think this is where most people get confused. I just assumed rice water was, water that touched rice. But the sources outline 3 very distinct types.
And they are absolutely not created equal. Using the wrong one is why a lot of people try it and don't get results.
Okay, so what's the first type?
First is washed rice water. This is what you get when you rinse your rice before you make dinner.
The cloudy stuff that just goes down the sink.
Exactly. Chemically, that's mostly surface starch and maybe some dirt. It has a very low bioactive content. It's not going to hurt you, but it's not going to give you glass skin.
Okay. Then there's boiled rice water.
Right. This is the leftover water after you've cooked the rice. Now, this is better. It's high in starch, B vitamins, potassium, magnesium. It's actually incredibly soothing.
So like for a sunburn or something.
Perfect for a sunburn or eczema. It's a great, gentle option for that.
But the notes call the third type the gold standard. Fermented rice water. So why is letting it sit and spoil, essentially, better?
Well, see, it's not spoiling, it's transforming. This is the key insight for today. The fermentation process involves microbial enzymes, and they break down the rice components. This releases what chemists call bound phenolics.
Bound phenolics. Break that down for us.
Okay, imagine the good stuff in the rice is trapped inside a cage. Boiling might shake the cage a bit, but fermentation actually unlocks the door. It releases these high levels of antioxidants, specifically Inositol and Ferulic Acid.
I've seen ferulic acid on the labels of serums that cost like $200.
It's a powerhouse antioxidant. It protects the skin from environmental damage, and inositol is fascinating. It helps with elasticity and reduces friction, which is why it's so great for hair.
Okay, so it's doing more than one thing.
Oh, yeah. Plus, fermentation creates lactic acid,
which is an exfoliant, right?
a very gentle, hydrating alpha-hydroxy acid. So by fermenting, you're turning starchy water into this complex chemical cocktail of exfoliation, protection, and hydration.
That makes a lot of sense. But I had to play devil's advocate here. Is this just ancient wisdom that sounds good on paper, or has anyone actually tested this in a modern lab?
That is the critical question. And we actually have a study in our stack from the Asian Journal of Beauty and Cosmetology. from 2020. They didn't just test it, they did a head-to-head battle.
A showdown.
Exactly. They pitted a DIY rice water essence against a high-end commercial brand, Reviterm AG. They measured oil volume, moisture content, skin elasticity,
Yep.
the work.
And the results.
Statistically significant improvements for both. And the study explicitly concluded, and this is a quote, that there was no difference in efficacy between the DIY version and the expensive commercial product.
Wait, really? It's actually shocking. Usually the commercial stuff wins because of, I don't know, delivery systems or stability. But they're saying the homebrew worked just as well.
Just as well. It validates that the ingredients, the molecules themselves, are effective, regardless of the price tag.
Okay, so if I'm listening to this, I'm thinking, great, I'm canceling my Sephora order, I'm going to the kitchen, and I'm making this right now.
And that's where we have to slam on the brakes.
This is the kitchen lab trap.
Exactly. Just because the efficacy is the same, that does not mean the safety is the same. We have to shift our mindset. We just established that rice water is nutrient-dense. It's full of sugars, starches, vitamins.
It's perfect food for skin.
And it's perfect food for bacteria. It is a microbiological feast.
So if I leave a bowl of rice water on my counter to ferment for a few days, I'm not just growing the good stuff.
You are growing a colony. The sources are very specific about the pathogens here. We're not just talking about it smelling a little off. We're talking about Staphylococcus aureus and E. coli.
Staph and E. coli.
On your face.
On your face. And the scary part is the timeline. The sources highlight that unpreserved rice water at room temperature starts to spoil within 24 to 48 hours.
Even if it looks okay.
Long before you can see mold or smell a funk, that microbial count is just skyrocketing. The School of Natural Skincare has a quote here that I think is so important. They warn that relying on blogs or YouTube can be dangerous because they often skip preservation. They say, you might be making things that aren't right, or worse, unsafe.
That's a sobering thought. You're trying to get glowing skin and you end up with a nasty infection.
It happens more often than you would think. This is why we need to move from cooking to formulating.
Okay, so let's teach people how to do this right. The technique part of our deep dive. The sources provide a safety checklist. What are the non-negotiables?
Rule number 1, and this is the big one, water equals preservative. This is one I think people really fight against. They want everything to be all natural.
I know, but here is the hard truth. Water is the source of life. If you have a product that contains water, and that includes aloe juice, rose water, any kind of hydrosol or tea, it requires a broad-spectrum preservative. There is no way around this if you want to store it.
Okay, we'll get to what preservative to use. What's rule number 2?
Water purity. You must use distilled or deionized water only, no tap water.
Why not? I mean, I drink tap water. It's safe enough for my stomach.
It's safe to drink, yeah, but for formulation, it's a nightmare. Tap water has minerals, metal ions, trace chlorine. Those metal ions can actually oxidize your antioxidants.
So it could kill that ferulic acid we want.
It can kill it. And it can make preservatives less effective. You need a blank canvas to start with.
Got it. Distilled only. Rule number 3.
GMP good manufacturing practice. This is just industry speak for clean your stuff. Sanitize your bowls, beakers, spoons, everything with 70% alcohol, and please use spatulas.
No fingers.
No fingers. Your hands are covered in bacteria, even after you wash them. If you stick your finger in your toner, you've just inoculated the whole batch.
Okay. And rule 4 is about contraindications.
Right. This mostly applies if you're getting fancy and adding, say, essential oils. Just because it's natural doesn't mean it's safe for everyone. You have to check for pregnancy safety, for allergens, and you have to stick to safe dosages.
And that's usually pretty low, right?
Very low, about 0.5% to 1% of the total formula.
Now, before we get to the actual recipe, I want to clear up a myth that I see in the comments of every single DIY skincare video. Someone always says, I don't need chemicals, I use vitamin E as my preservative.
Size. This is the most dangerous myth in DIY beauty. We need to just kill this one right now.
Let's bust it.
Okay. Vitamin E is an antioxidant. It is not a preservative. They do completely different jobs.
Explain the difference.
Think of a bottle of cooking oil. Eventually it goes rancid. It gets that smell like old crayons. That's oxidation. Vitamin E stops that. It keeps oils fresh. But it does absolutely nothing to kill bacteria, mold, or yeast in water.
So if I put vitamin E in my rice water, the bacteria just swimming around it having a party.
They are happily eating the rice water while the vitamin E just sits there, completely useless against them. For water-based products, you need a broad-spectrum agent that actively kills the bugs.
Message received. Vitamin E is not a bodyguard for water.
Exactly.
Okay, let's get to the fun part, the formulation. We have a recipe here for a rice, water, and rose toner. Looks like it makes about 100 milliliters. Walk us through the structure.
Right, so when pros formulate, they work in phases. It just keeps things organized. Phase A is your active phase.
Which in this case is the rice water itself.
Right, we're using 70 milliliters of our fermented rice water extract. That's your base. That's providing the brightening and the bioactives.
And then we move to phase B.
Phase B is the aqueous and humectant phase. Here we're adding 20 milliliters of rose water. This does two things. It acts as a mild astringent, but honestly, it's mostly there to mask the smell.
Because fermented rice water smells like, well, fermented rice.
It can be a little sour, yes. The rose helps. Then we add 5 milliliters of aloe vera gel for soothing and 2 milliliters of glycerin.
Glycerin, that's the sticky, clear liquid you can buy at the drugstore.
Yep. It's a humectant. It literally grabs water from the air and pulls it into your skin. It stops the toner from just evaporating off your face in 2 seconds.
And finally, phase C, the serious part.
The stabilization phase. This is where we make it safe. We're using 0.5 grams of sodium benzoate as the preservative, and this is the step everyone skips: citric acid.
Why do we need citric acid? Isn't the rice water already acidic from fermenting?
It varies, and that variance is a problem. Your skin's protective barrier, the acid mantle, sits at a pH of around 5.5. If your toner is too alkaline or way too acidic, you can damage that barrier.
So you use the citric acid to adjust the pH to match your skin.
You match the skin and you make it safe. Sodium benzoate actually stops working if the pH is too high. So if you don't adjust the pH, your preservative might not even be working.
Okay, so we have the ingredients. How do we actually make this? Walk us through the process.
Step 1 is extraction. You soak 100 grams of washed rice in 300 milliliters of distilled water. You want to leave this for 24 hours at roughly room temp, so about 25 degrees Celsius.
And do we need to stir it or anything?
Yes, stir it every 4 hours if you can. You want to agitate it to help that enzymatic breakdown we talked about, get those bioactives out.
Okay, 24 hours later, it's all milky.
Now, step 2, filtration. This is crucial. You do not want chunks of rice rotting in your toner bottle. You have to double filter. Use a muslin cloth for the big stuff, and then if you want to be professional, use a Whatman 9.1 filter paper. You want a clear liquid.
And then step 3.
Homogenization. You mix your phase A, the rice water, with your phase B ingredients, the rose, aloe, glycerin. Stir that well. Then add phase C, your preservative. You need to stir for a good 15-20 minutes to make sure that preservative is fully dissolved and distributed.
And then the pH check. The scary part.
Step 4. This is the crucial step. Get some pH strips. You're aiming for 5.5. If it's too high, you add a tiny pinch of citric acid, stir it, and test again.
It really does sound like a high school chemistry lab.
It is, but that's what skincare formulation is. It's applied chemistry.
I want to zoom in on one ingredient you mentioned, aloe vera. The source material has a specific warning about handling fresh aloe. A lot of people have a plant in their kitchen. Can they just snap a leaf off?
You have to be so careful. If you cut an aloe leaf, you'll see the clear gel, but right under the green skin, there is this yellowish layer.
What's that?
That is latex. It contains a compound called aloin. It is a strong skin irritant.
You definitely don't want that on your face.
It can cause redness, itching, the exact opposite of what you want aloe to do. So if you harvest your own, you need to fillet it, cut the edges, slice the skin off, and carefully scoop only the clear center. If you see any yellow sap, cut it away.
And then you can just blend it.
Blend it and strain it to remove the fibers. But you have to note, fresh aloe oxidizes really fast. It will turn brown.
Okay, so let's look at the bigger picture of storage. We walked through the chemical route with sodium benzoate, but I know some listeners are strictly preservative-free people. Do they have to give up?
No, not at all. But they have to change their strategy. The sources call this strategy B, the frozen route.
Cryotherapy.
It's a fancy word for ice cubes. Freezing halts microbial growth without any chemicals. So you make your blend, the rice water, aloe, rose water, strain it, and pour it immediately into ice cube trays.
And that lasts how long?
In the freezer, 6 to 12 months. And the application is actually lovely. You take out a cube, wrap it in a thin cloth so you don't get freezer burn, and massage your face in the morning.
Oh, that would be amazing for puffy eyes.
It's fantastic. It constricts blood vessels, it depucks, tightens pores, and as it melts, it delivers all those nutrients. It's like a little spa treatment.
So you really have two paths. The chemist path, which is shelf-stable and pH balanced, or the cryo path, which is frozen and preservative-free.
Exactly. Both are safe. What is not safe is the middle path, leaving liquid in a bottle on your bathroom counter.
Okay, before we wrap up, let's say I've made my toner. I went the chemist route. How do I know if I messed it up? Is there a quality control check I can do?
Always. First is the physicochemical check. Just look at it. It should be uniform. If you see floating clouds or gunk that wasn't there before, something is growing. Then smell it. It should smell mild. If it smells sour, sharp, or just off, toss it.
What about a stability test?
Yeah, put a small sample in the fridge and one at room temperature. Check them after 14 days. If they separate or change color, your formula isn't stable.
And the most important check of all, which I feel like nobody ever does.
The patch test. Please do a patch test. Apply a little bit to your inner arm or behind your ear. Wait 24 hours.
Because you can be allergic to natural things, too.
You can be allergic to rice. You can be allergic to aloe. It is much, much better to have a little rash on your arm than a chemical burn on your entire face.
Words to live by.
Indeed.
This has been a really comprehensive look. We've gone from the courts of ancient Japan all the way to a modern safety checklist. If we had to boil this down, pun intended, into a formulator's cheat sheet based on that final table, what are the key takeaways?
I'd break it down by our narrative arc. First, trend. Know that rice water works. It brightens and hydrates thanks to inositol and ferulic acid. Second, truth. Fermentation is the key. That 24-hour soak boosts the bioactives, but you have to respect the chemistry.
Right.
Third, technique. Process matters. Filter thoroughly, use distilled water. And finally, safety. This is the big one. Never store water-based DIY products at room temp without a broad-spectrum preservative. If you won't use preservatives, you have to use the freezer.
It's about turning a kitchen experiment into a genuine skincare solution.
Precisely. It stops being cooking and it starts being cosmetic science.
So here's the question for you to mull over. We know the chemistry holds up. We know the results can rival high-end brands. But are you willing to put in the work to do it safely? Are you going to buy the pH strips and the preservatives to feel like a mad scientist? Or are you going to keep it simple with the ice cube tray?
Both are valid paths as long as you respect the microbes.
Respect the microbes. I think that's going to be the title of this deep dive. Thanks for guiding us through the lab today.
Stay curious and stay safe.